You know, back in 1980, Ronald Reagan asked the electorate whether you were better off than you were 4 years ago. At the pace things are going right now, you're going to have to ask whether you're better off than you were 4 weeks ago.
Obama promised us hope and change, but all we got were shattered dreams and broken promises. Millions out of work, trillions in debt. One vote would have changed the course of history. Mark Newman was one of the first conservatives I had heard about. When he was in Congress in the 90s, he was legendary for trying to balance the budget and even fighting Republican leadership to cut the spending. I was elected to the House in 1998, but his name was everywhere. When we were talking about how to cut spending, how to balance the budget, how to continue the work, we heard about Mark Newman almost every day my first year in the House.
I got out there, freshmen, 72 members in our class, and I got assigned to the Appropriations Committee. I was sitting in a room with about 25 other members of Congress. They're all Republicans, and they're going to spend $3 billion. $3 billion. Every single person in that room added something into this bill for new spending. And I said, well, look, I don't really want to add anything to the bill, but I would like to ask a question if that'd be okay. Where is the money coming from? They threw their pencils down and looked at me like I was from another planet. So next day we go to vote on this bill, and I voted no on the bill. Later, and we're down on the floor of the House of Representatives, the chairman of the committee comes up and says, Mark, we've just kicked you off the Appropriations Committee because of the way you voted. I wrote a letter to every member of Congress, and the letter went like this. I voted to stop spending that we can't afford. And I got kicked off the Appropriations Committee for doing it. And I have only one real regret sitting here this evening, and that's that I have only one committee to get kicked off of.
Well, Mark Newman is endorsed by some of the most active and most trusted conservative groups in the country. But some of the best new United States senators, Mike Lee, Rand Paul, have also stepped forward to support Mark Newman. Because like me, they know of Mark's record in the House. They know he'll stand up to Republican leadership, Democrat leadership. He'll stand up to those who are trying to bankrupt our country.
Washington needs someone like Mark Newman, a constitutional conservative, someone who would balance the budget. Every Republican's not created equal, and I think Mark Newman will really help us to bring conservative values to Washington.
Mark Newman has been there before. He's been tested. He's proven that he's going to do what he says he's going to do. He came to the House back in the 90s to balance the budget, and that's what he did. And when we balanced the budget, he decided to come back to Wisconsin. So I know we can trust Mark to do what he says he's going to do, and that's not something I would say about many of the people in the Senate.
Many Republicans are for a balanced budget, but very few Republicans will actually have the courage to propose and vote for a balanced budget. Mark Newman is one of those, and if we get Mark Newman up here to help us, I think the conservatives can begin to take over the Republican caucus and hopefully take the country forward in a better direction.
I think Mark Newman's probably one of the best Senate candidates in the country this year. It's real important that we get real fighters in the Senate, people who are not joining the Senate club, but are actually there to stand up against all the spending and the borrowing and debt.
I think Mark Newman is the conservative choice for voters in Wisconsin. If they want someone who respects the Constitution, who will balance the budget, who truly believes in limited government, Mark Newman's really their only choice.
So if conservatives are looking for a real champion in the Senate, Mark Newman is the one.
All of you will go to the polls, will stand there in the polling place and make a decision.
I would like to have a crusade today, and I would like to lead that crusade with your help. And it would be one to take government off the backs of the great people of this country.
With God's help, we can and will resolve the problems which now confront us.
If not us, who? And if not now, when?